afternoon, YTPC. Talking to you from the shed of serenity again. Storms have gone away, but there's a fresh chill in the air, so I'm back in the shed. Wonderful it is. Well, this is a not too long VR to Eric SeaSmokePipes. Well, Eric has a great channel, and of course everybody knows he's an excellent pipe maker, makes absolutely exquisite pipes, and also works in ceramics and pottery. So it's actually lovely in our YTPC community that we've got so many craftsmen who are very good with their hands and very good with their minds in creating these lovely new objects. I think it's reflects that pipe smoking is both a kind of intellectual pursuit, but it's also an art and craft, isn't it? We're kind of artsy people a little bit as well. Great channel, so have a look and watch his videos. Sometimes he does a lovely chat session, so I can only recommend it as a channel to visit. Well, Eric is doing his GAW for his 600 subscriber achievement. Congratulations, Eric, on that. And asked the brilliant question, what does everyone collect out there? So that's going to bring some fantastic interesting videos, I think. Well, I spent 40 years collecting money in order to have a place to live and a pension and some money to start collecting things. So that's the first thing I would try and do. Of course, along the way you awake certain interests, that you've got a big long list of things you want to do when you've got more time. Well, everyone knows, of course, I'm collecting tobacco and pipes like crazy, and you've seen those. Well, actually, most of my pipe collection is here. It's amazing how many pipes you can get in one drawer. Now, there's about 25% in different other places, like my little library share of the bookshelves here. And some I've got in southern Switzerland. Not so many there, maybe 10, 12 pipes. But it's actually a very good question, because it's amazing how many things you realise you collect. You know, so I was talking about money. I collect old coins and old banknotes. You've seen some of those, the Weimar Republic Reichsmark collection that I have, and some old Swiss currency and old American dollars from the 1930s, banknotes. And it's once you take an interest in something, you tend to look at what's around today, but then you quite quickly go back in history. For example, in pipes, I've started to look at more and more estate pipes. That's interesting. Before, when I started collecting, I thought I'd get all new unsmoked pipes. But you get drawn into the history, don't you? I've got a collection of ties, mostly accumulated while I was working, because that was the dress code for much of my working career. Here's a look at them. And of course, to go with that, I have a collection of tie pins, rings, I have a collection of watches. Here's a look at that. And you've seen a few videos about those watch collections. I collect knives, which I've introduced one at a time in some of my videos. And pistols, of course. Well, here's a look at part of that. I have maybe about 20 different firearms. At some point, of course, I'll maybe make a video looking at them in more detail, the pistols. I imagine that would interest quite a few of you out there. But it goes on, actually. I have a collection of 78 records, for example, for old gramophone players, either retro or the real old-fashioned hand-crank ones. Quick look at that. I suppose the thing is, what is collecting? You know, I have 5 dinner jackets. That's not really a collection, as it were. That's to give me some choice depending on the occasion. So it depends a bit on how you define it. But I suppose it's something when you've got more than 20 or something, or somewhere towards 100, you could say that's a collector, perhaps, I don't know. But I think in each collection it's a reflection of your interests in those objects, and quite often the history, looking back, and certainly the diversity. Even if you only collected modern pipes, you know, made in the last couple of years, it would still be a great diversity. So there's a lot of different dimensions to collecting, I think. There's some dangers, you know. You can give out too much money for them, you can run out of places to put them, and you can lose interest, I think, and not actually then ever return to them. And sometimes the older I get, the more I think, what happens when I actually kick the bucket, you know, and my great nieces and nephews, they're going to look at this stuff and think, well, what can we do with it, you know? But it's a kind of epitaph you're leaving behind to what you were, and perhaps it'll wake fond memories of when they saw me smoking my pipe and smelling that lovely tobacco, and maybe they'll get into it one day, who knows? Or maybe they'll like my collection of neckties or dinner jackets, or some of them will take up pistol shooting because of what they find, you know. I don't know. But it makes life interesting in any case to be a collector, I think. By the way, belatedly, I'm still smoking Haunted Pirate Ship from good old Charlie. My Prince pipe, it's absolutely lovely, I must say. I'm probably going to mix up the Haunted Bookshop and Pirate Cake and make another jar of that Charlie. It's really lovely. Oh, I forgot to mention the wine collection, of course. I must have at least 400 bottles, maybe 300 on these racks you'll see here, and some in the other place. So, and you know, of course, about my bourbon collection as well already. That's it for the quick one. I'm very interested to hear about everyone else's collections, because I'm sure there's going to be some really interesting different stuff, and that's going to be great fun to see. So get posting those videos about your collections, and let's have a look. Cheers everyone, bye bye.